Hey, welcome to the broadcast. Today, we will be talking about how to land the number online for online dating. Hope you're having a wonderful day this fabulous Monday. I hope all is well with you. This is part 3 of our installment, How To, which we provide unsolicited dating and relationship advice for men. Yeah, in this episode, again, we're going to focus on how to land her number online and how to initiate online dating. So if you don't have any pen or paper, men, go get something because we're about to hip you to some game. Again, our goal is to find Mrs. Right. Our goal is to be in a serious relationship. If that's not your goal, if that's not the objective, then this is probably the wrong video to watch. But if you're interested in landing the number to pursue a serious relationship, if you're interested in being married and having a family and having a long lasting relationship, then this is the video for you. And again, this is catered to men, but women are more than welcome to watch, of course, and to enjoy the video. And just let me know if there's something that I've missed, something that you would like to include. Women, those that may watch this video, if you happen to be a female, you can just let me know. You can inbox me some information, some how-tos that you would like for me to do, especially for men. I would love to include that in my content. I would love to include that because, hey, two heads are better than one in these cases. And sometimes our perspectives are relatively different. And so I'm sharing based upon my perspective as well as my experience. And I'm sharing maybe some of the do's and don'ts, which will be helpful for me. And again, you're trying to land, right, the ideal woman for you. You're trying to land a woman of a certain caliber, right, of a certain, just somebody that's different, that's somebody that's not like your typical. If you've been, if you've been gravitated towards women, that you may discover that's just not up to par, or maybe women that are attracted to you that just seem to not really just match whatever your criteria is. This particular video is going to challenge you. It's going to challenge your mindset, and it's going to help you to attract women that are at a certain levels, women that are educated or just business minded professionals, or women that have their head on straight, that are serious, even if they're not necessarily professional, but hardworking women that, have been there, done that, have some experience about themselves, and they're serious about life, and they really want to grow, and they want to get into a mature relationship. So you want to attract those women, not maybe the women that you typically attract, which may be the opposite of that. All right, so How To, again, is a podcast that provides unsolicited dating advice, right? Now, I am considered an expert in my field. I do have coaching. I've been trained as a life coach. I am a Christian counselor and author, motivational speaker. I'm also the CEO of Impacting Mindsets Global, or I'm Global. That's me. That's me. I am she. All right, so I am also the CEO of the business, and the brand. And so I'm coming from that perspective as well, talking to men, just noticing some of the conversations that we've had about dating and that sort of thing. So I'm coming from that perspective. So even though the advice may be unsolicited, it is good, sound advice that I'm going to be providing to you, as well as professional advice that I would give to a client. So I just want to put it in that perspective that we're not just chewing the fat just to chew the fat or just trying to entertain you. I'm here to let you know that I'm actually in the business of coaching so that I can help you if you want some one-to-one, or if you want to hire me to do a group training or a group session with men that need help in the area of dating and relationships. I think that we all can use a coach. The most famous basketball players in the world have coaches. I'm talking about one-to-one coaches to help with the discipline, with workouts, and a physical trainer. They're there to help them. They have so they have the team coach, and then they'll hire that additional trainer, which will be a coach for them, that one-to-one that would help them to perfect their game in a particular area. And so that's what I'm here for. I'm here to help you perfect your game in the area of love and relationships. Trust me, I know a buster when I see one. And I also have a little bit of empathy and compassion for brothers that, or young men, regardless of whatever your race is. I see the struggle. I have a son who's very introverted and very shy, and he's awkward. I feel for him. He's very attractive. He's a sweet boy. He's a young man now, and when he gets older, I hope he doesn't have these kind of issues. But based upon what I observe, I mean, because he's so shy and slow to warm up, he's going to have some challenges in that area if he doesn't build up his confidence with himself, and also confidence when dealing with the general public, or just dealing in a relational kind of situation. Sometimes he feels awkward and that sort of thing. So I'm really targeting those types of people that are introverted, people that are shy. You may feel socially awkward. You may not know how to function or operate in certain settings. You have a tendency to put your foot in your mouth, say things that are inappropriate. I'm really targeting you. I want to be of some service to you. And I really do believe that the information that I will provide through these how-tos is going to help you in ways that you'll be writing me and saying, "Thank you so much, Dr. D. I really do appreciate your video. I believe that for you," okay? So just to put it in perspective. Now, before we move forward, make sure that you like this video. Make sure that you subscribe to this channel. It is a new channel. Even though I've been in business for at least about 3 years now, the channel is new. I usually just operate from my webpage, which is www.impactingmindsetsglobal.com. You can also go there and subscribe to that. Just subscribe to the mail. I give discounts. During COVID-19, I've been offering discounts for coaching as well as for counseling. So you want to take advantage of those things. So go ahead and subscribe to the channel. You can also follow me on all social media. You can follow me on Instagram at Dr. Kesha Capers, Facebook, Dr. Kesha Capers, and at Impacting Mindsets on Facebook. You can follow me there. Now that we've gotten all the preliminaries out of the way, let's get to it. All right, so we're talking about how to land a date, or at least initiate, right, online dating. Trying to land that number. That's what we're talking about. Now, what's interesting about online. Well, what's interesting about the difference between on land and online, just made that up, but we recovered nicely. The difference between online dating and on actual face-to-face dating, or at least trying to initiate that dating process, there's some nuances to it. It is difficult. It's a little bit more legwork that's involved, especially if you don't know the person. It's just more legwork involved, and a lot of that has to do with catfishing. Most people know about the show. People pretending to be what they're not, people, just faking and pretending, just these hoax and everything else that's going on. So people are very skeptical about, establishing something online. They're pretty much skeptical, and rightly so. Yeah, so it's important to keep that in mind, that catfishing is real, fake accounts are real, and so women especially are very, very, very cautious. Very, very cautious. And so the reason why I'm giving you the tips that I'm going to give you in just a few moments is to keep it in perspective. So don't take it personal. Don't get offended if you're asked to kind of to kind of go through loops, if you will, or have to jump through hoops. Don't get offended if you have to do more than you would normally do if you were in a face-to-face situation because you're online. Because at least with the face-to-face, they see you. At least they know that you're real, right? So when you're online, people hide behind the whole line thing. They hide behind the screens and their phones, and so they don't know. Women are often sure that the person is real or legitimate. Okay. And so as a result, you may have to do a little bit more. And so because we're in this COVID like state right now, I mean, we're in the midst of a pandemic, but yet you still want to find love. Should you have to wait to find love? Should you have to delay, meeting Mrs. Right? No, you shouldn't have to. You should be able to meet and greet and socialize online as if you are offline. Okay. You should be able to do that. Many people have connected, whether it's be for business, whether it be for friendship, online. We've made connections online. Our businesses have been established primarily online. You know what I mean? And so, and we were able to get clients online. And so it's entirely possible, right, to establish a relationship. I think platonics are much easier to establish, right? But you can establish romantic relationships. We've heard testimonies of people getting married to people that they've met online. So I just wanted to take away the unicorn aspect of online dating. It is entirely possible, but there is a caveat to it. There is a special approach to it, which is slightly different than being online. I'm sorry, offline. All right, so listen, when you're approaching a stranger, obviously the approach is quite different than someone that you know. Now, some of you already know people online. You have friends of friends of friends. You may be in the same circles, or you may be connected to someone within your circle. So you kind of know them, kind of, sort of. Maybe you admire them from a distance. Maybe you are attracted to that person. Is the ideal person to approach in that way. And I'm just going to give you some strategies on how to go about doing so. So whether you're approaching an absolute stranger or whether it's someone you know, you're going to need confidence. You're going to need confidence in yourself that you can carry this out. And so that's one of the things that you're going to have to work on, building your confidence. Believe that you are able to find someone and that you are worthy of love. All right. You have to accept that about yourself, because that's going to be felt and it's going to be experienced in your experience in dating. She's going to know whether you're confident in yourself. She's going to tell right away. So if that's something that you are still working on, that's fine. You can be a work in progress as long as you're working on it. And that's why I mentioned that first, is because oftentimes, whether you be male or female, that's an area that we often struggle with, the lack of confidence. And so I want you to know that you can do it. So you have to convince yourself that you can do it and know that you can do it, and just trust yourself during this process. Not only do you have to have the confidence, but you have to be wise enough to take the advice. You have to be wise enough to implement the strategies that I'm going to share with you. And try to stick to the script until you can kind of get it down pat enough to kind of veer from it a little bit, or make it your own, or make it unique to you. You can do that. So I'm going to provide a template. I'm going to provide a script for you to work on, to work with, during this process. I like to call it a script because it's just much easier to give you an example of how to versus just kind of give you generalizations when it comes to actually dating. Because what you say matters. It's going to either repel her or it's going to draw her closer to you or pique her interest or make her disinterested, depending on how you come across, especially on social media, because all they have are your words. They don't have anything to glean from. You know what I mean? They can glean energy from your words, depending on how you word what you say. They can glean energy from that. People can, detect. And once they speak to you, whether it be on the phone or whether you're doing a video chat, they can begin to pick up some other vibe from you. But the initial, all they have is your words, your initial contact, just strictly words or emojis. And so you kind of have to get it right the first time because you don't want to be misinterpreted or misconstrued, and then she be turned off by what you're trying to do, and then you fail. So we want to avoid the fails and we want to set you up for success. Okay. All right. All right. So the first thing that you'll need to do, this is strategy number one. If you are serious, now, if you're not serious, just listen and just listen. You may change your mind. But if you're serious about really getting into something serious and really building a relationship off your online platform, you're going to have to put your real name. You're going to have to put your real name in there. Okay. No Bobby Brown, Big Bob, Big Boy, all these fictitious names and whatnot, or these nicknames. It's not going to cut it. You're going to have at least somewhere in your profile in there, like when you have your name, and we're talking about, let's use Facebook as an example. It could be Instagram, it could be Snapchat, but let's focus on Facebook or Instagram. Your name, usually they allow you to have a name, and then they'll allow you to have perhaps a nickname or some type of, tagline of sorts. But somewhere in there, make sure that your real name is in there. Okay. For example, yes, my name is Kesha Capers. However, my legal name is Kesha Diaz, but I still use Capers because that's my maiden name. All right. So I still use it. But for legal purposes, so what you'll see is, yeah, you'll see Dr. Kesha Capers, but under the tag, you'll see Dr. Kesha Capers Diaz, right? And so you'll see me make mention, make posts, and you'll see Diaz on there, Diaz, because that's my legal name. All right. So let's say if you do use, again, a fictitious name or sorts, just make sure that you have your actual real name somewhere, somewhere in there. Okay. Somewhere on your social media. Why? We're going to get to that in just a moment. Now, along with your name, make sure you include your age. Now, again, the purpose for this, it really is about integrity. It really is. If you're starting out from the gate lying about, to me, basic information about yourself, the question that women often ask is what else is he lying about? Like if he's lying about something like that, like what else is he lying about? That's what women think when they see stuff like that. As petty as that may seem to you, it really isn't, because again, people have their reasons. People like to hide, using their social media, or they have their reasons. But what I'm saying to you, if you're a legit person and you really want to legit find somebody to love, then you need to be open, and you need to be okay with being open with who you are. And that comes to your name, your age, just the basics. You need to be open and willing to do that. And that's not, nobody's asking for you to dump out your family's trauma right now, right? And all the experience that you've had in the past. Just simply, this is a informal way of introducing yourself. And it will make it easy on you when you actually have time to communicate with the person that you're interested. Then you won't have to do a whole lot of mansplaining. Nobody wants to hear the mansplaining. We don't want to hear the excuses, because more than likely we're saying in the back of our head, and we're not saying out of our lips. What are you hiding? What is that all about? You know what I'm saying? What's the story behind the story? And so just be who you are for real. You know what I'm saying? On your social media, your name, let it be real as possible. Even if it's portions of your name, let it be a legit name. Your age, all right, make sure that's on there. And I will say this: put a modern picture in your profile. Do not put a picture unless it's like, Throwback Thursday or something. You know what I mean? And you just so happen to reach out to her on the throwback Thursday. But somewhere in your pics, let there be some type of modern picture or recent picture of you. That's important, because if you have a picture of you back in your high school years or back in your college days or what have you, or when you were thin, before the girth or before, the accident or whatever the case may be your authentic self. Put a modern picture up. Now, there are some of us that use professional pics in our profile. And to me, that is completely fine. Not everybody's going to take a professional pic every minute and second. You know what I'm saying? Because they cost a lot of money, number one. And so that's understandable. So if you have a professional pic, maybe say you've taken over the last year or so, yeah, it's time to upgrade. I know for me, I can honestly say it's time to upgrade my professional pic I use all the time. I love that pic, but it's time to upgrade that pic. There's some changes that have occurred from the time that I took that pic. I digress. But somewhere down in that timeline, somewhere, people should be able to see you in your present you, your present body. Okay? They should be able to see that. She should be able to see that. And so don't try to avoid, hiding. You want somebody to love you for you first and foremost. You don't want them to love you for, now again, people will love you for who you were back in the day. And that's for connecting with people that you already know, because that image may be trapped in their mind where they may remember you as the basketball player. They may remember you as the football player with the six packs. They remember you, even though if you're out of sorts, you know what I mean? Even if you picked up weight and you've changed a bit, they still may remember the old you, and they may say, yeah, you did look good back then. You may look good now, but to yourself, you may say, I'm not as attractive as I once was. And so if you're connecting with an old boo, or somebody that you used to date back in the day, or somebody that you went to high school with, that's different. That's pretty much that image of you is kind of cemented. So even if you change a little bit, if there's some nuances that, you got gray hair now when you didn't have gray hair before, or if you're still young and, maybe they knew you back in middle school or in elementary school, of course you've changed. Okay. But my point is that you want to be confident, right? And so you're going to have to put actually how you are in terms of a picture. You want to capture that, and you want to share that on your social media somewhere, even if it's not your actual profile pic, because you're using a professional one for professional reasons, right? You want to, somewhere down in that timeline, somewhere in your photos, you want to have an actual picture of you. If you're like me and you do lives, then okay, you do lives. They're going to be able to see you live and in color, right? They're going to be able to see you how you really are today, because you do lives and you do them frequently. That's great. So they'll be able to see you in your element. They'll be able to hear you talk. They'll be able to see you, hear your tone, and be able to decide, moving forward, whatever they're going to do. But they'll have a chance to look at you and make that choice as to whether, ooh, I like him, I'm attracted or not. By being honest and forthcoming when it comes to your picture, at least she feels like she has a choice. If she feels deceived, and you guys eventually, let's say it's an old pic, it's a very old pic. Let's say some things have happened. Maybe you lost all your hair. Maybe in the picture you had all hair, whether it's because of, balding naturally or medical reasons or whatever the case may be. And then she meets you in person and you look like two different people. She's going to feel deceived, even if it's just a natural progression of life. She's still going to feel like, well, why didn't you put any recent pictures of yourself? Like, I feel like you're a different person. You know what I mean? So she's still going to feel some deception in there somewhere. Because you weren't being as forthcoming as you could have been. All right. So you don't want to start a relationship off that way. You want to be open and as honest as you can possibly be. So make sure that you have a current picture on there. All right. The next thing that you'll need to include, and this is again just about you before you even proceed with any strategies that I'm about to provide. Let's deal with you. The first thing you need to do, I'm sorry, the second thing, third thing that you need to do is include some pictures of your family. When I say family, I'm talking about intermediate family. If you have children, remember, if you listen to the second video, we got into the actual conversation that you're going to have when you have that first phone conversation. And part of that is introducing yourself. So this is a form of introducing yourself in an indirect manner. So if you have children, make sure that your children are displayed. Even if you don't want to fully show their face, it can be a silhouette. It can be a back picture, because I know that some people want to protect their children and they don't want to. For many, many years, I didn't put my children's names on their picture, just the picture itself. And then there was no locator. I didn't put like where the pictures were taken and that sort of thing. I did that for many years until they got of age. And then, people would see the pictures and then they'll say, hey, that's so and so. Hi, so and so, or happy birthday, so and so. And people would begin to say their names. And before I would tell everybody, oh, don't, just, we're trying to, whatever. But now it's like, oh, they're of age, it's fine. And so if you're that protective, which is understandable for social media when it comes to guarding your children, that's fine. But at least have some indication that you do have children. That's something that you should, it's just going to help you in the long run, and not hurt you. Not, I'm talking about a real woman. It's not going to be intimidated by the fact that you have children, because she is seeing that you're a good father. And that's good. The fact that you're bragging on your children and you're boasting them and you're not boasting about them and you're not trying to hide them is an actual good sign. And I'm talking about good women. Good women like to see men present in the lives of their children. So that's going to really set you apart from men that hide that. It's going to set you apart. It's going to show that you're a good dude. So I'm saying, if you have children, then have at least a picture or something of your children, even if it's a silhouette, even if it's just a back shot of them, or whatever, but take a picture with your children and make sure that you have it somewhere on that's visible, right? Make sure that you set your profile to at least your friends only. If you don't want it to be public to everybody, at least your friends, allow your friends to see it. Or if you're interested in a particular person specifically, then you can maybe give them access to you. And there's a way to do that. So you can maybe block everybody else from seeing certain things or limit what other people see. But when it comes to the person that you're interested, you can give her access to you, and you can do your settings in that way where you will allow them to see your things, and those things, the things that I named and specified, you can allow them to see that, because again, you're trying to make them feel comfortable and you're easing their conscience, and you're doing it indirectly. You're doing it indirectly when you do these things, and when you set it, and this is something that you want to do going forward, you're really serious about trying to find a love relationship, a serious relationship. This is how you're going to set your profile, so that regardless of who it is that you're interested in, whether it be something that is just, it's just an intro situation, or it turns out to be a friendship, or then, whatever, you're on a journey. So you may be meeting people, it may be multiple people until you land the one, or you may land the one at the first initial, interaction. I don't know, but going forward, if you set this off right, you won't have any problems in the future about her questioning your integrity or questioning you being honest. Another piece that you can add to it is if you have any pets, that's always cute. And the reason why I say pets is because if that pet is just as much of a part of your family as your children. So if you have a pet, if you have a dog or whatever the case may be, you need to include that as well, because if she's allergic to pets, then obviously she's not the one, unless most people are not going to subject themselves to living a life with a pet. That I'm talking about, you love that pet like your own, like this is a family member, and they have a real allergy, a real allergic reaction to pets. I don't think that they're going to subject themselves to that. All right. And let's just be honest, and let's just be real. So you don't want to attract people, right, that are allergic to pets, or that are afraid of pets, or don't like pets, or whatever the case may be. So by having pets, if that's you and you're a pet owner, then you need to put your pets on there so that, if somebody looks and see that if you have pets, then they know maybe that's something that, I don't want to even begin a relationship with that person, because it's if it grows into something, we're not on the same page when it comes to that. And that's important. Compatibility is important, believe it or not. It's just not about, I like her, I like the way she moves, she's pretty, she's attractive, I got to get to know her. You guys have to have some things, at least the major things, in common. That's important. All right. So include your pets. Another thing that you can include is your occupation. If you have a business, you can put your business there. And also, because number one, social media is free advertisement. So you should already have your business information there anyway. Even if it's a separate page, you should link it to your primary page. Okay, that's just business tip. Thank you. You're welcome. All right, so include that, of course. Ministry. If you are in ministry, if you're a minister, you want to include that as well. What ministry are you connected with? Include that. Again, this is a way to introduce yourself indirectly to whomever it is that may be interested in you or you're interested in. All right, so include all those things. Include contact information like emails, professional emails, ministry emails. If you want to do general instead of personal, you can do that. If you have a business, put a business email in there. Again, free advertisement. If it's ministry, then ministry, free access to your ministry and not free ad. And also any websites for business or ministry. If you have any of that going on, or if you have a side gig going on, or whatever the case may be, any side services that you provide, this will be an opportunity to put that. But again, this is going to tell her the story. It's going to share something about you, and it's going to also legitimize who you are. Okay. And the more legitimate you are, the more comfortable she is. And she's going to be more open to at least connecting with you on that level when you make that move, when you make that first move. Because guess what? The moment you start making some moves towards her, trust me, she's going to be checking you out. She's going to be doing her own personal investigation. How do I know? Because I do. All right. So I'm giving you some real tea. I'm giving you some real tea, some real game. This because this is what I do. The first moment somebody comes on my page, if they look like somebody that I might be interested in, I'm checking them out. If they have barely anything to see, I'm leery of them. That's just how I move. And so I'm sharing that to help you, right? So that's why it's important. If she's interested, she's going to do some snooping, okay? If she's intrigued, if she wants to know more about you way before you approach, she's going to do her due diligence. And so what you want to do is you are breaking the ice indirectly and you are becoming Googleable. That's what you're becoming, Googleable. She has to be able to Google you to confirm that you are legit. All right. And that's what you want. You want her to be comfortable, whoever she may be. Right. Because that right there is just helping the process. It really, truly is, especially online. Now, again, when you're face to face, you don't have to go through all that because she sees you, you ask for the number, she'll release it based upon what you look like, because what you look like tells the story also a little bit. Based on how you dress, it tells the story. How you speak tells the story. What you drive potentially may tell the story. It shows her something about you, right? And she's making an assessment as to whether she's interested or not to even proceed on an intellectual level to get to know you, right? And so the same thing with your profile. It's doing the same thing that you would do in person, and a little bit more, and a little bit more. So that's why I said you may have to do a little bit more work online than you would normally do offline, but she can gauge you. She's doing the same thing in essence without knowing like the business aspect or whatever. It depends on you and how you're presenting yourself at the time. If you give her a business card, if you give her your information, she's going to have it. So it's essentially a business card online is what you're providing with a little bit of some little extras, okay, in terms of your pet information, your children, and all of that good stuff. You're helping out. You're helping yourself out. All right, so let's move on. Let's talk about strategy. Now you've done all of that. You've already set up your page to be date ready. Okay, so you set it up. So you make things a little bit smoother when you do that. Yeah, you want to be taken seriously. especially in the midst of finding love online in the midst of COVID-19, because a lot of people aren't really going to be racing to get out there and date one-to-one for fear of COVID-19. And that's the truth. So a lot of people are spending more time online than offline right now, especially when, again, being introduced to new folks. They're connecting with people they already know, of course. But when it comes to brand new spanking folks, the new, they're trying to limit their interaction because of COVID, social distancing and stuff. We're all practicing that. So it's going to be a slow to warm up process, but that's okay. Now, this is how you can approach, and this is some strategies for the approach. Now, if it's someone that it's possible that she's already on your social media page as a follower, or someone that you follow, somebody that you already know that you may have been interested in. Maybe you didn't see her in that way, but you're starting to notice her, and you feel the desire to approach her to try to see where it goes. Okay. So let's say you know her. If you know her, if you know anybody, the approach is going to be a little bit easier. It's going to be easier. It's going to be easier to approach her, because you're not dealing with the element of the unknown. Of course, there's some aspects that she doesn't know about you. You're still a stranger, even if you know her. You still have yet to that you have to yet to learn. But if you know her, it just takes the tension off of the situation a little bit, because you've already kind of done that, right? You've been there and you've done that aspect where you were introduced, or you're a friend of a friend. So you're known in some kind of capacity. So I recommend that you establish a friendship. So if you weren't really friends, she wasn't the homie, then you need to establish a friendship with the person that you were acquainted with. How do you establish a friendship online? By interacting more socially. How do you interact socially? By interacting through the post. You don't tag her on the post. Don't do that. But if she makes a post, if she's a person where she's very active on Instagram, or she's active on her Facebook, what you're going to do is you're going to interact with her. So if she makes a funny, or she makes a joke, or she posts a GIF or emoji or something like that, or a picture, or whatever the case may be, interact with her socially. Interact. Yeah. So she'll say something, or she'll ask a question, respond to the question. But I'll say this: in everything that you do, with every interaction, make sure that that interaction is authentic. Don't pretend like you're into something that you're not, and don't love something that you don't love, and don't like something that you don't like. You can make a comment without actually liking it. You don't have to like it and make a comment. You can just make a comment. If you don't really like it, and that's not something that you really believe is true, or you're on the same page with that thought process, you don't necessarily have to like it, but you can still interact with her in some way. Just make sure that your interactions are not argumentative, or aggressive, but let it be light, let it be fun. You know what I'm saying? Let it be funny. Let it be a fun interaction, a positive interaction, if you're going to interact with her on social media at all. Right? Now, another part to that: use discretion. Don't post on everything that she is posting. Don't interact on everything that she does. Don't be excessive, because if you're excessive, it's going to be considered thirsty, and you don't want that. You don't want to be that guy, right? You don't want that. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to be labeled as that. And so limit your posts to a couple a day. Don't be doing no 50 posts in one day. That's inappropriate. Okay. Like, again, if she's sharing any posts or anything, don't overdo with the love. Use love scarcely. You don't love everything. Like I said, be authentic, be true to yourself, be honest. So if you like it, like it. If you really love it, then love it, but use the love scarcely. If you're loving everything that she does, again, it just that's a red flag for some women. Well, what's going on is too much, right? And so you don't want to be in that vein. You don't want to be too much, right? So just scale it back. Love what you love, but be scarce with your love, and like what you like. But again, a couple a day, that's cool, but don't overdo it. Don't overdo it. So again, be honest on your social media. Don't just start posting quotes that you've seen her post, because you've seen her post it and you're trying to show that you guys have some things in common. No. Be honest on your social media. Don't be driven by or trying to, do the most to try to be seen. You're not doing that. To me, less is more on social media. You want to have this air of mystery, which is fine. You're putting enough on that's general enough for her to be comfortable, but at the same time, you want to have something to talk about when you do get to that point when you are having a conversation over the phone. So don't start to getting crazy with your posting, needing to post any and everything about your belief system and everything political and blah. Just limit what you say, because you'll discover that you may have some things that you don't agree upon, and then you don't want to clash on social media. So just be mindful of that. Limit what you post. Keep it love. Keep it light. Okay. All right. Because again, when you start liking some things, again, the strategy to liking some things that you legitimately like is what you're trying to show is you guys are compatible and that you have some things in common. Now, after you, and you know what, and this goes for someone you know or someone that you don't know. Because again, people send friend requests all over the place. There's a whole bunch of folks, I'll say over 3,000 people that I don't really know on my social media page. And so if I start interacting with them, eventually they're going to start noticing me. Eventually they're going to start noticing me. Okay. And so once they start noticing, make a mental note. Oh yeah, she responds. She's cool. Oh, this is fun, or she's fun, or whatever the case may be. So it's going to start to paint a picture in their mind concerning me. They're going to start having a characteristic in mind concerning me. All right. And so that's what you're trying to do. Okay. You're trying to establish some commonality. Right. And you can do that with somebody you know or somebody that you don't know. Right now, after sending these fleeces, because essentially that's what you're doing to the person that you don't know or the person that you do know. Let's focus on the person that you know. All right. Let's see. If you know them, right? If you know the individual, just simply send them a DM. Obviously, if you don't have their number, you just can't just up and call them, right? But you know them and they know you. And so you should be comfortable after you started this banter, hopefully a playful one, a playful banter between you two just on posts, right? Just on posts. And you notice that she's vibing with you just like you're vibing with her. Or when you make a comment, you see that she makes sure that not only does she like or love or care for your comment, but she also take the time to make a comment to your comment, or she'll respond back, or she'll do some other nuance or something that lets you know, maybe she's interested. But you don't want to assume, but they are clues, potential clues that she may be interested. Of course, again, this banter is going on. Finally, you're getting to that point where, okay, I'm going to send her a DM. When you send her a DM, you're going to ask her, hey, can I have your number? You're going to ask her for her number. And if you happen to have her number already, and let's say you haven't talked to her in years and you happen to have her number, text her to determine if the number is still good, and ask her, when is it a good time to call? I would like to, have a conversation, or I would like for us to catch up. That's something that you can do. Okay, so here's the script that I'm going to provide for you. And this is first to a stranger. All right, this is to a stranger. All right, so their name is on there. Preferably their name and information is correct. You will find out. Okay, so let's say the person's name is Monique. Hi, Monique. I hope that you are well. Now, this is how you're going to be. Again, you can change it up a little bit to make it your own. I'm just providing a script and a template for you to follow. Hi, Monique. I hope that you are well. I noticed by your post that we have a lot in common, and I would like for us to get to know each other. Do you mind if we can chat from time to time? All right. So this is something that you can ask a stranger. This is somebody that you don't know. Now you can start with chatting. And depending on your comfort level, you can ask her for her number only if she's okay with it. But start with the question, do you mind if we chat from time to time? Now in the DM, she should respond to that. Or if she ignores it, then obviously you know that number one, she didn't see it. And I guess, you know, with Facebook especially, we can determine whether someone has actually viewed the DM or not. So you can see that aspect. If she saw it, maybe she didn't respond right away. She could have been at work. It just wasn't a good time for her to respond, or she maybe had to think about it. Give her some time. If she never responds to it, then clearly she's not interested in chatting. If she happens to respond, and let's say she responds like, sure, if she says that it's fine and that's she's completely okay with that, then ask for her number. Okay. So simply by asking, do you mind if we chat from time to time? That's going to give you that entry that you need to ask for her number. And then you can take it off of social media, because that is the goal. You want to take it off of social media because within that realm of social media, there's other people that can pop up in your DMs, whether that's invited or uninvited. It's a whole lot of traffic and things that are going on, and all these messages that are being sent, and just a lot of activity. So you want to take her off of, so that you can begin to focus and foster whatever relationship you're trying to foster with that lady. That's what you want to do. All right. And I will recommend that if this is, you know, if it's a go and she's completely fine with it and she gives you her number, then you need to follow the script in video 2. So take the time to rewatch video 2, and you can follow the script for getting to know her and how to navigate through that process, making sure that you hit all the key points that you need to hit. Now, in terms of a non-stranger, this is somebody that you know, or a friend of a friend, someone that you're an associate with, or what have you. You can say, "Hey, Monique." The conversation is a little bit different. "Hey, Monique, how are you?" Okay, now see, you don't have to say, "I hope all is well," because you really don't, you know this person. "How are you?" Okay. I think it's weird for people that don't know me to ask me how I'm doing. I just do. You know, I don't know. I'm talking about just random. "How are you?" Like, I'm going to tell you how I'm doing and you're a random stranger. That's how I feel. So, but you're dealing with a non-stranger in their DMs. This is somebody that you already know. And if you're legit asking how they're doing, then they're going to respond to that question. So if they respond, "Oh, I'm good, all is well," blah, blah, blah. Okay, continue. So I've noticed that within your posts that we have a lot in common, and I would like to get to know you a little better. Can I have your number so that we can chat? All right. So again, it's nuanced a little bit. The script has altered a little bit because you already know this person and the person knows you. But what you're trying to get them to see is that through the interaction that we've had on social media, I'm noticing that we have some things in common. And I'm vibing with you, and I really want to get to know you better. All right. And if they respond like, "Yeah, sure," and blah, blah, give you the number, then you need to follow the second video script on how to have that interaction when you actually call the person. Now, again, you've noticed a couple of things about the scripts. The one with the person that is a stranger, and the other end of it, the script that is more pertaining to a non-stranger or someone that you know. One of the things that is very similar, it's just nuanced depending on the relationship that you've already established. But the scripts are very much the same. You're just doing a greeting, and then you're trying to focus them on the interactions that you guys have previously had before you got into their DMs. For me, it just makes me feel comfortable if you're trying to approach me on a friendly tip than somebody that's just trying to just shoot their shot and they haven't put in the work. I feel like by making posts on her posts and following her thoughts and contributing to the conversation is your way of doing the work and actually taking some time to get to know her before you approach her on that level. I think that women appreciates that more than just a random DM of somebody asking for your phone number, or a random DM of a guy just asking, can they chat with you, you know, on DM, or wanting to date you, whatever the case may be. A cold intro is the worst for women. They are turned off by it. Just so that you know, it is not attractive. You can be attractive, but your approach is not attractive. And so by interacting with them on their social media, it slowly warms them up to the idea of you. And if they notice, which they will, they'll notice that you guys have some things in common and that you're vibing. And trust me, when you make the comment that you make, and maybe it's, again, is in alignment with their thought process, they're going to go over to your page and they're going to see how you're interacting. And please do not mock or copy what she's doing. Live your life, do you. But what she's doing is she's comparing and she's contrasting what she see you do and how she's living and how she's thinking and feeling, because you guys are living out loud on your social media page. All right. And so by doing so, by interacting with her on a friend level, on social media, on a friendship level, on a friendly level, it's going to bring those guards down. And so when you actually approach her and you're shifting her, her focus on the fact that you guys have been interacting and it's been a good interaction, you know what I mean? That you want to continue that, but you want to make it even more personal by doing it off of social media. I think any woman that's serious, any woman that's mature, she's going to want that. You know what I mean? She don't want to be treated like everybody else. She wants to be treated special. And so, and that's what you're going to do. And like I forestated, once you've gotten that number, once you've landed that number, then it's important that you follow the script that was outlined in video 2. And I gave you a nice little script there of the type of questions that you need to ask and how you should interact with her on your first phone call, because you want to hit a home run. You don't want to fumble this, right? You've worked to the point where you got the number, and some people get the number and then they fumble. They fumble because their mind is all over the place and they don't have a strategy. And especially if you don't really know the person, and even if you think you know her, you don't really know her like that. So you're going to have to be strategic with the questions that you ask, and you're also going to have to be limited in what you ask, because you don't want to give too much too soon, and then you don't want to go too deep too soon. There's a balance to it. And so I'm here to help you with that process. Okay. So I think we've covered the bases with trying to land the number, whether you be offline or whether it is online. I gave you some strategies that you can use to get to that place. Now, if you want individual coaching, I'm here for it. I'm here for you. And so you can definitely hit me up by simply either inboxing me or sending me a message, or you can go to my website and you can email me, subscribe there, email me, and then we can get the ball rolling. And I would love to assist you. If you have a particular person in mind, I can help you with that process if that's what you need. All right. Okay. I enjoyed the conversation. I really do hope that you enjoyed the conversation. This was much longer than what I anticipated, but I feel like that it's worth it. You finding Mrs. Right is worth it. You finding the love of your life is worth it, especially if you're ready. And if you take my advice, it's going to show that you are ready. All right. All right. So I will tune in with me next time, which I believe we'll try to make a video on tomorrow. If not tomorrow, it will be the next following day. But look for the videos to be more consistent, because I really do want to cover this thoroughly, because I want to help you out. I really do feel like that we could all use support, especially in the area of love. Trust me, I have support in the area of love, and I want to offer some support to you for those that need it the most. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, bye.